What's up and welcome back to the Gridiron with Chance Aspen. Make sure you subscribe down below, like this video, comment. Now, enjoy this video. Alright, welcome back to week 15 of my 5 NFL thoughts. If you don't know by now, I give you 5 NFL thoughts every single week, and this is week 15. Let's get into it. Thought number 1. Why did people stop talking about Lamar Jackson for MVP? Like, why are we all of a sudden just all bought in on Josh Allen? Why is Josh Allen just the overwhelming favorite? Because if you look at the stats, really the guy who should be winning it is Lamar Jackson. He has better stats in rushing and passing over Josh Allen. He beats Josh Allen in every statistical quarterback category there is, major, except for QBR. QBR is the only thing that Josh Allen leads Lamar over. But I just was wondering that watching Lamar this week. He threw 5 touchdown passes. Yes, against the Giants, but against any team in the NFL to throw 5 touchdown passes and be almost perfect is a very hard thing to do. I don't care who you're playing. And the NFL world has just seemed to fall in love with this Josh Allen MVP narrative. Now, I know he's beaten some good teams, and he has a really good record. I get that. But statistically, him and Lamar realistically aren't even really close. So how is it that he is this overwhelming favorite? Please tell me. How is he? All I hear about is Josh Allen being this MVP, and he's going to win it unanimously, and he should win it unanimously. We've just forgotten about Lamar Jackson. We forgot about the guy that was the favorite to win MVP for the first 7, 8, 9, 10 weeks. Why? He hasn't fallen off, and he beat Josh Allen head-to-head. Now, I know that was earlier on in the season, so we like to forget about that. But do we forget? He was the best player on the field when those two guys played. Lamar was, not Josh, Lamar. And I think another thing that's hurting Lamar is he won the MVP last year when he probably shouldn't have. Last year, statistically, he wasn't very good. He just won it because he had a great record. And it almost seems like this is what's happening with Josh. His team's record's good, and he's beaten some really good football teams, and he's been on some big stages. We want to give him the MVP. We want to crown him the MVP. Not because his stats are amazing, but because he's played big in big moments. Whereas Lamar hasn't had many of those prime-time, big-moment games to show what he is capable of. Whereas Josh has. And especially over the last couple weeks. They beat Kansas City. Josh had a great game. They lost to the Rams, but Josh had 6 touchdowns. And he played great against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. But all I'm saying is don't forget about Lamar Jackson. This race is not over. At least in my eyes, it isn't. Because Lamar Jackson still deserves to have his name in that MVP conversation. Because statistically, right now, he is playing better than Josh Allen. I know Josh Allen has had the bigger moments, but don't forget about Lamar Jackson. Thought number 2. Even though the Detroit Lions lost, I was really impressed with Jared Goff. I thought Jared Goff showed me that he can win when his running game isn't there and he has to drop back over 40 times. And that's really what the question about Jared Goff and this Detroit Lions offense has been. Is when teams stop the run and teams shut down this creative offense, can Jared Goff just stand in the pocket and make high-level throw after high-level throw? And I thought against Buffalo, he did, and he showed that. And that's the one question mark. If Detroit is going to win, eventually they're going to run into a team that shuts down the run, shuts down all this creative stuff that Ben Johnson does, and they're going to say, Jared Goff beat us. We saw earlier on in the year against Houston. Houston shut down the running game. Jared Goff threw 5 picks. So now there's that question. Can he win in the pocket when nothing else is working and you just have to throw the ball? And he impressed me so much because he showed that he could do that against Buffalo. And he's going to need to show that more and more. Because come playoff time, you are going to need to throw the football to win. I believe throwing the football, you need to throw the football to win championships. And not just off play action, but in legit drop back pass situations. Jared Goff is going to need to show that he can do that. He showed it against Buffalo. Am I sold on it completely that he can do that in the biggest moments? No, I'm not. Sorry, I'm just not. But he impressed me, and he showed me that he can do it. That was big, because I didn't know if he could even do it. He showed me that he could do it. Now, can he do it when the playoffs come around? Thought number 3. The New York Football Giants are an absolute joke. I shouldn't even be talking about them, but I haven't talked about them all year. And I watched them play the Ravens, and the Ravens are a much better team. But they are an atrocious football team. The only thing that's good about their team is their D-line, or at least the talent on their D-line and the names. I haven't watched the Giants hard enough this year to see how good Dexter Lawrence. I know Dexter Lawrence is playing well, but Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. I haven't watched enough to see if all three of those guys are meshing well together. But other than that, one, I think you got to get rid of Brian Daboll. I think Brian Daboll has to go. He just has not done enough. And I think he's better as a play caller. I don't know if he's a good enough head coach. And their GM has to go. Both those two guys, you need to bring in a new GM and a new head coach. You just have to. Because you're going to be drafting a quarterback. And so if you have this quarterback, you can't just give the coaching staff and the GM 1 year with this new quarterback. You're going to have to give him multiple years. Well, do you really want to do that with Daboll and Schoen? Not really. So I think what you do is you get rid of them both, you bring in a new regime, and you draft a quarterback high in the draft. Whether it's Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward, whoever. But you draft the quarterback, and you give this coaching, the new coaching staff and the new front office time to develop with this young quarterback. But I think that's the only way to bring this team back. Because I think Daboll, the way the locker room is, Malik Neighbors, I don't think Malik Neighbors trusts him, and he's your best player right now. I don't know how well Daboll's messaging is going into that Giants locker room. And their GM, I don't like him. I watched him on Hard Knocks. The way he explained why they weren't going to sign Saquon was an absolute joke. He should be ashamed that he even put that out there. So, for the Giants to come back, because look, the NFL is better when the Giants are a good football team. The Giants need to fire their coach, fire their GM, bring new regime in, draft a quarterback, and build this thing up the right way. Thought number 4. The Lions' man-to-man coverage got exposed against the Bills. And this has been a question. What happens when the Detroit Lions play a really good offense? Well, we saw. They couldn't stop the Buffalo Bills at all. They struggled to stop them literally all day long. That's why Dan Campbell had to kick an onside kick early in the fourth quarter, because he didn't trust his defense to get a stop. And really, it was their man-to-man defense that really got exposed. Because every big third down, on fourth down, Buffalo just exposed their man-to-man coverage. And what happens when you run into a good quarterback with a good scheme who can expose man-to-man with good weapons, this is what happens. Because you don't have good enough corners to just line up and be shutdown guys. Last time I checked, you don't have Deion Sanders, you don't have Darrelle Revis, you don't have any of those guys. So it's very hard to just play man-to-man shutdown. I'm shutting down this side, you shut down that side, and we're going to shut down this whole field. It's very hard to play like that. And I get it. Aaron Glenn's trying to bring more pressure because he's losing all these rushers, so he's trying to create pressure, so you have to play man-to-man on the back end. I get all that. But I think they have to play some zone because their man-to-man got absolutely shredded against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. My 5th and final thought here in Week 15, here it is. The Philadelphia Eagles right now are my pick to win the Super Bowl. Now, don't hold me to that because I can change before the playoffs start. But right now, I think they are playing the best football out of anybody in the NFL. They are complete from top to bottom. They can run it. They can pass it. They got a great O-line. Their defense, they've drafted all these guys out of Georgia last year's draft with Quinion Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, and all these players, all these young first, second-year guys with also a veteran like Darius Slay, Bond. All these guys are playing dominant football right now. They have all developed kind of at the same time, and they're all meshing perfectly at the right time. This team has that 2017 magic. And right now, they are my pick to win this year's Super Bowl in New Orleans. But that's my NFL thoughts. Again, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, comment, and have an awesome day.